another couple of weeks more. We are in communication with the art world in widest cases. Today we talk to Martin Kwade, who runs the art space and gallery called KWADRAT, KWADRAT, which is, I would say, a combination of his last name and square in German, Quadrat, and his logo reminds of a Malevich. And he is also, I mean, I know how annoying it can be to be identified via family, but he's also the brother of Alicia Kwade, whose work we see in the back, longtime artist of the gallery. And we're gonna hear from him if I see him. Martin. Oh, and he founded an amazing initiative a couple of years ago called Artist Night. Here we go. KWADRAT Galerie. Comments. I guess it's better. And I think he's renovating right now his new. Martin.
Hallo, grüß dich. Johann.
Good morning. How you doing?
I'm fine. I'm sitting here with my assistant Pablo.
Hi, Pablo.
He's working on his Kant-Studien. He's preparing for his Doktorarbeit. And
you help him?
Once again?
And you help him with that?
No. He helps me with other stuff. But we have an interesting conversations about Kant and his work.
Funny that you mentioned this, because I'm reading this book right now by Ulf Poschardt, and it starts also. Kant is like the beginning source of.
Oh, okay, cool.
Of our how mündig we are, how like self.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, die Mündigkeit. Yeah.
Yeah. What's it in English?
Mündigkeit. Pablo, what is Mündigkeit in English?
Major age.
Major age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Martin, tell us a bit about you and how this whole Corona is infecting you.
God bless. I'm not infected. I have a lot of time now.
Oh, sorry, affected you, but also infected. Good that you're not infected. Yeah, you have a lot of. Sorry, yeah.
I moved with a space to a new space. The shit was that workers leave me with all the stuff because they want to make the renovation to the end, but they leave to Poland and leave me alone. And now I have time to make the renovations by myself to the end.
Oh, because they had to leave, right? They had to leave.
There were 2 Polish workers, and they closed the borders some weeks ago, and they take all the stuff and everything and go to the families. So let me alone. But it's not so big problem because I cannot open now. I read a lot and make the renovation to the end.
Are we in your space now?
We are in the new office. Nobody see it before because it was not ready.
Can we see it?
Yeah, I switched the camera 1 second. It works. Yeah. So, okay. So it is. Es ist ein sozusagen Fachwerkhaus. You see here. I make it like this. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's some small works of Daniel Kannenberg. Here's a work of Jennifer Oellerich.
So you mainly represent German. You mainly represent Berlin-based artists, right?
Exactly. Yeah. The works, I don't have so many works now in the office because I painting also a bit, make everything to be ready. But they came back from Frankfurt, the works, and here's also a small work. Then you see the stairs downstairs. Then I have also a nice surprise because of Corona. A very nice work of Tobias Dostal. You see it?
Oh, beautiful.
You know,
Tobias Dostal, he's a contemporary artist, but also a magician.
Yeah, and he makes it wash your hands, please. It's in my. You can see my new toilet.
Oh, very nice. Thank you for showing us.
Super proud of it. I make
Also,
it by
because,
myself.
I mean, you're proud of it because you installed it all yourself, yeah? You like
Yeah, now, yeah, I have to because, yeah, I tell you that the workers leave me. So, yeah, now I can make it by myself, step by step. Yeah, it makes fun, but it's also hard because I'm not so much an expert in electronic and other things, and now it's very heavy to found somebody to help you because the workers are also not working, and yeah, I make a lot of alone, and I have also a long time for reading stuff, you know.
Can we see? I pick that up a lot that people say they have time. I have no time. I have really no. I mean, I try to read a little bit, but can we see the space?
No, because it's an exhibition there. You know, I canceled the opening. I canceled the opening one day before the opening, and I talked with the artist. With Severin Spengler, he makes it with Victoria Stecker, and they make a big installation, and we want to make a real opening. I don't want to see it, you know, before, and we can wait maybe next 4 weeks, and when nothing happens, then we show it step by step. In the moment, you know, it's better because it's a whole big installation with microwaves and some super nice collages, and they are brand new works. So we decide.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So tell me about it. So you discussed the possibility of showing it here, but then thought it's better to keep it for the real, yeah?
Exactly, because they come from Cologne. We work 1 week, make the setup, and the opening.
Can you repeat? So they came from Cologne and
they came from Cologne, exactly, and they work hard for the setup. It's a big installation with microwaves and new pieces, new collages, and then 1 day before the opening, we decided to don't open because it was on the 13th of March when all galleries closed, openings closed, and on the end, I want to make the kind of, okay, cowboy, I open, but then I decide not to make it because when something happens and I don't want to risk for my collectors or visitors.
because there was no need to close at that point, right?
Exactly, it was a need to close it on the 13th of yeah, exactly.
By official order? By official order? No.
Official order was on the 14th of March.
How did you? Because I must say, I had a very interesting experience. I was actually on this book launch event for Ulf's book at Peter Altmaier, who's a minister of economics in Germany. Yeah. Very small group. Everybody was far away, sitting from each other. And then I was sitting there, and we were like discussing, or they were discussing this topic of like how we can be, how independent each individual has to be in a society, and be. My English is too bad. Anyway, so and then I wondered, like, why did we as a team decision close the gallery in such a rush when there was actually, I mean, the people in our space can keep so much distance, of course, flatten the curve and so on. I understand it all, but you know, the people are mündig. They can decide themselves if they come or not, and as long as there's a possibility to stay open. Of course, when there's an order and they say like you have to close, you got to close. I mean, and now tonight I'm gonna speak to Esther Kim from Various Small Fires in Los Angeles and Seoul, and she came up with a very smart. It's a contemporary art gallery, and she came up with a very smart idea. I want to learn more about tonight. I'm gonna speak with her at 10 a.m. LA time. Is she developed a time frame, like a time calendar system online where people can it doesn't cost money, but they can just book a time slot, and then they walk into the gallery alone.
Okay, wow.
Not meeting anybody, not touching anything, just walk into the door, spend time at the exhibition and walk out again.
And the door opened automatically, or
I think they just leave the door open.
Ah, okay.
These questions I'm gonna ask her later tonight. So, but anyway, so you decided you did not have to close, but you decided to close out of responsibility towards society, so to speak.
Yeah, the problem the problem is in the new space. The space is very long, but not so bright. So it's not so. Normally,
like
I have
a tube, like a channel.
Yeah, like a big tunnel, you know. And normally I have a lot of visitors by the openings. Young people, young artists, collectors. They are all together and talking, and mostly the exhibitions are very, completely full. And so I decided I don't have the chance that the people keep distance. And I also asked a collector of mine. He's also a doctor, and he told me, "Oh, no, don't do it, because maybe when something happens, when somebody gets a corona in your gallery, then on the end it's your problem." And I also talked with the artists, because in this time, it was like a Kettenreaktion, because everybody closed in this time. And so we talked with the artists a long time, because they especially came from Cologne. I organized a flat for them that they can live here in Berlin. And then we decide together don't open the
Okay, and let me know, let me understand. Now you discussed the possibility to show it here. What were the pros and cons of sharing it here? I mean, right now they're watching 138 people, but probably by tomorrow it will be 3,000, 4,000 people. So why, what were the pro and cons for sharing here, digital?
The thing is, the first time is the artist never have a solo exhibition in Berlin. He's a young student of Odenbach.
What's the name again?
Severin Spengler.
Severin Spengler.
Severin Spengler in cooperation with Victoria Stecker. So they make it together. They are a couple, and they never have a solo show before in Berlin, also not. So it is a super important show for them, and that's why we decide. Wait, we didn't know how it will be with the corona. Now it's a disaster because it's so long time. So we hope to wait maybe next 3 or 4 weeks, and then make a big opening like a normal one. When it's not possible, then we have find a new idea and maybe share it via I don't know. I never been in a situation. But in the moment, the installation, I don't switch it on. Also, it's important for the installation. The artists are also important by the opening. They are climbing also on the sculpture. And I decide also in the gallery space, now I make the renovations to the end. So, for me, it don't make sense to show it when it's not, kind of completely ready with the artists. And that's important for this. It was a hard decision. It was a hard decision. Also, now, the time is going and nothing happens with the exhibition, but the exhibition is here. It's ready. But we, I'm super happy, and the artists are also super happy, when the people are coming, I think you know the same, when an opening, the first opening of an artist in a gallery, it's a super important thing for the artist, also for the gallerist. And when they are, 5 people or 3 people, it's not the same like a real opening,
Yeah, but I find it interesting because I assume they're like the millennial generation and very online natives, and of course it's always a pro and con. This only can't really replace the experiences we can have with art, but at least it has an interesting angle of communication possibilities to share it at the same time with many people, which maybe usually wouldn't come, and it makes things so effortless. You can I saw this show in Korea. I wouldn't usually, of course, get to see, and then maybe not even look at the website because I wouldn't have had this comfortable walkthrough the way I received it now. And tell us what other consequences did you notice or were affected by with the lockdown now?
Yeah, for me is one problem. For example, when I go to the bar to buy some stuff for the renovations, I have to wait 1 hour. You know,
Home Depot, yeah.
In
You have to
Bauhaus.
what? You have to?
When I go to Bauhaus to a market,
Yeah.
you know, with stuff for building something, to buy some stuff in Kreuzberg, I have to wait more than 1 hour to buy some paint, for example, you know. And yeah, I think also the people behave a bit strange. Also in the supermarket, I keep my distance. Everything is okay, correct. I try to be correct with the whole rules they give us. But yeah, I think some people are kind of aggressive or kind of, you know, die machen so blöde Sprüche. They talk something, hey, come
Comments.
on. Yeah, they make some stupid comments and yeah, now everybody is thinking about themselves. Also the clochards in Kreuzberg, it's a disaster situation because nobody gives them a cent in the moment, you know, because nobody want to give them something in the hand, you know. And I was last day and give everybody something because they are now now they are completely lose situation, you know.
Yeah.
Because, and I see it also in the U-Bahn when they ask for a penny. Nobody want to talk with them because of this, and I think it's a social problem also.
Thank God the weather is getting better.
Yeah, now it's super. The weather is perfect. It's super also for everybody. I think also for the vitamin D, and for the immune system, for everybody.
But also for them, no, for those who because I think also a lot of homeless shelters closed because of, you know, the Tafel where they give out the food.
Exactly.
They closed because of the infection risks. So it really hits the poor the hardest.
Yeah,
Martin, there are some questions here I would like to share with you. I don't understand this one. What does it say? Can you read the full question? I can't. It's too big here on my screen.
This model you mentioned with the gallery in LA might also bring a sense of focus to the what?
Yeah, I assume it means that that's what I heard also from Esther talking about it in a podcast. That of course it brings, I don't know, another. It's a different engagement, you know, that when someone books a time ticket to go places, and I don't know, maybe it's a different responsible view, you know, you know you have that 20-minute time slot alone in Jorinde Vogt's exhibition. And usually there could be easily 20 people with still in our space, with still being, I mean, it's so big, there could be, I don't know, 100 people and still having 2-meter distance each to each other, you know, in a grid, of course, not in a chain. Yeah, please.
I think, you know, normally when you have opening times in the gallery, like usual, you have also by request, you know, people come, so it's the same on the end, you know. But I think the normal times, I think now it's an extreme time, you know, but because nothing happens really. But I think it's not, it cannot be the normal situation, you know. So I think it's everything changed end of summer, and we will make the same thing again. I think the idea of the gallery in LA is super, you know. But yeah, for example, but in my situation, I don't know how to make it in a practice. Okay, so I have to be, yeah, I can open for the people. Yeah, I also think it's also a new situation for me, Johan, you know?
Yeah.
And
for all of us.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
none
right.
None of us has been in this situation. Martin, what is your advice for young artists?
For young artists, oh wow. Yeah, take part in a lot of I think build a good network. I think it's super important for young artists, because just making painting and making something alone in the studio without sharing it with people, is I think in this times is hard. I think they have to be, yeah, they have to work hard and take part in exhibitions, met friends, and take part in group exhibitions, and also when they are not living in Berlin, they have to spend some time in Berlin, because you have to you can match here immediately people they can bring, you know, maybe help you in a way. Yeah, I think the network is super important for young artists in the moment. Yeah.
And should art change and become less related to physical experience?
Should art, once again?
Should art become less related to physical experiences? I think that it should be less about the physical encounter, you know, really being in front of the painting,
yeah,
walking around the sculpture.
It's super important. It's super important. I think that's the question. The question is super important, because now we have the problem that we cannot do it, you know. And I think it's super important, the atmosphere. You know, you can touch the sculpture maybe when the gallerist allows you. You can stand in front of the painting. You can see it from the side. I think, yeah, it's a super important relationship to be in contact with a piece of art. I think that's why that's why the problem now is bigger maybe than we think, because it's, yeah, you don't have the chance to do it, and to show everything in internet. I don't know. Maybe
that's the next question here. It says, I've seen many uploading virtual tours and such. Is this a thing now? That's why we started the series. A, to let people participate and to understand the art world, but B, also we visited Martin's sister, and then when we talk about her work with her, I think a lot transports, and you can join, you physically experience it straight from the mouth of the artist, like straight from top of her head, and then also you can ask questions here. So I think we kind of like compensate the experience of art through this, but then also, of course, it's only a limited audience who's like handy for Instagram, and that's why we copy the films and put them up on YouTube, so that other people who are not so familiar with Instagram can tend to do it. And Martin, a question here for you: what is the best way to approach a gallery, and whom? Curator, director?
I misunderstood this question. What do you mean?
What's the best way, for example, for artists?
Yeah.
For artists, I think so. That's how I interpreted it. What's the best way to approach you, for example, or a gallery in general? What's your advice as a gallerist?
To meet me, to talk with me, you mean?
Yeah. Just a gallery in general, but ideally from your perspective.
You know, to visiting my shows. You know, because I'm always there. You know, when I'm always in the gallery. So when artists want to talk with me, or so it's, yeah, when I see them lot of time, so we start to talk maybe and can discuss some things, and yeah, it's kind of this, yeah.
Like becoming kind of part of the.
Yeah, you know, it's important. Talking is super important, you know, when I can talk with somebody about the works or something, just to show me something without telling nothing, it's a bit hard, you know. Because I need this, yeah.
And tell me, Martin, it's interesting that Alicia and you both you fled Poland in the 80s.
87, yeah.
Your family escaped kind of like communist Poland, and Alicia told me in an interview in our magazine that you guys were meant to go to Canada. Yeah,
it was the first idea of my dad. But it was far away from my mom. She didn't want to go to Canada.
and she told me only by coincidence you got kind of stuck in Hanover.
Yeah, because an auntie of us was there, and the first plan was to go to Canada and then to Paris, and then we just was on the way through Hanover, and we have an auntie there, and she helps us a bit. And so my dad decided to stay in Germany. It was nothing was planned in this time, you know. My dad have a budget of maybe 5,000 D-marks and start everything from the beginning.
Yeah, it's really great. I don't know if you've read it, but I mean, you know the story, of course, firsthand. But Alicia says that he exchanged the remaining cash he had, and of course, me as a pseudo anchorman and pseudo psychoanalyst Attila, I thought that because he exchanged that money into gold and hid the gold in the car.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. It was super. My dad have to start with some money, and it was not allowed to take money from Poland, not the visas. And he have some dollar coins, golden dollar coins, and put it everywhere in the car, you know, behind the reflectors, and go through the border. It's super interesting because Pablo, my assistant, his grandfather have the same story. They are Jewish people in Italy. And you have to flow from Italy to Spain with a car in the end of 30s, and his grandfather makes exactly the same, but he don't put the dollar coins in parts of cars. Der hat das Gold so platt gemacht und in den Wagen verbaut. Also he puts the gold part
installed it.
Yeah.
So anyway, I thought that this might be a reason why she at the early work started to work a lot with gold. But what I wanted the question I wanted to get to is how come you think both of you? I mean, you studied law through courses, and then you worked a lot with Anselm Reile.
Yeah.
But you have your gallery for quite some time now. How come you think both of you ended up in the art world?
By Alicia, I'm sure she want to make art from the beginning, and I was not sure, and I first study law in Frankfurt Oder, but every weekend I don't spend the weekends during the law studies. I don't spend the weekends in Frankfurt Oder. I go to the openings in Berlin. I met you the first time long times ago when you opened Galerie. I met the first Möbus class. I met all of them. I had a lot of friends in the art circle, you know. I met Anselm Reile, a good friend of mine now, also an artist in your gallery. And and I decide what I am doing with law. I have so many friends, and I was very interested in arts. And then I make my first kind of exhibition in my flat, and I sold some works. So I think, okay, wow. So I stopped study law and try to build up. It was
so a little bit through your sister, like because she was like in the Möbus class and so on. Because of Alicia, you were like connected to Berlin art scene somehow.
Not just because of Alicia, but of course, a lot.
Yeah.
I know I help her sometimes. I go to Berlin. He was with Marienchen Dance and with Silva Agostini, and they make some group exhibition somewhere, and I help them sometimes with drill some holes in the wall.
Yeah.
And of course, Alicia and Gregor, of course.
But this means you were also very much attracted to the spirit and the lifestyle and so on. Yeah, me too. That's how I also ended up with like visiting Städelschule and seeing.
Yeah, also, you know, my best friends on the end are just artists, you know. I don't have too much contact with my old friends from the study, maybe of some of them, but my whole friends are just artists, you know, and that's why it makes sense for me to work with friends.
Yeah. Martin, thank you so much for being on the show. We call it the show now.
Yeah.
And please, as soon as your show is open, your physical exhibition is open, reach out and then please revisit us here and show us. And then you're also going to tell us when we can expect the next artist night.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, super. Yeah, good idea.
Ciao.